Hey everyone, it's Oscar here, bringing you another great episode of Life After Deportation, the podcast. In this podcast, we dive into the topic of life after deportation. So grab your headphones, turn it up, let's unwind together, and welcome to another episode of Life After Deportation. What's going on, everybody? What's going on here? This is Oscar here once again with Life After Deportation, bringing us with another great episode today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and take it a little deeper. We'll go ahead and talk about mental health, guys. We're going to go ahead and talk about the stress, the distress, the overwhelming, the struggles, the troubles, the hardships, the burdens, the heaviness that comes with being deported. You know what I mean? Now, just like many of us, you know what I mean? The majority of us that get deported is males. I want to say about 80, 90% of those who get deported are males. You know, yes, you know, we still have our women, ladies that get deported, you know, and we'll go through this, you know, male, female, you know, what happens when we get deported. Many of us already had a life made in the States. You know, many of us already had a family made in the States, you know, minding our own business, you know, taking care of ours, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, because we were undocumented, not because we were criminals, you know, simply because we were undocumented, you know, we ended up being deported and separated from our families, you know. Many of us, when we get deported, you know, we get taken away from the everyday life, you know, what we used to call everyday life, daily routines. It's no more. Why? Because you already got deported. You no longer get to see your family. You can't go back. You know what I mean? You're stuck now. You know, what can you do? Make that phone call, say, hey, honey, I got caught already. I'm about to get shipped to Mexico, my home country. You know, and then what? Can't see your wife, can't see your loved ones, can't see your husband, can't see your kids. You know, whoever you was your significant other at that moment, or your family that you were living with, or even cousins, or even friends that you met at the job site that you're living with. You ain't going back, you know, and that's a sad reality. You know, like myself, you know, when I got deported, I had to bring my nephew with me. I had to leave my wife behind and my 4 kids, you know, and we had just buried our son. We had just barely buried our son, you know what I mean? So you could just imagine all the burden I had in my head, you know, all the heaviness, you know, just like many of you guys that first you get deported, you know, you come with your own burdens too. You come with your own luggage, you know, and where do you take that? You know, where do you take that? Where do you take that heaviness to? Who do you complain to? Who do you bring it to? No one's there to listen. You know what I mean? And like I said, guys, one of the things that helped me and continues to help me a lot, and I cannot emphasize this more, is talking to Jesus, praying, you know, and just letting all out to God, you know. That's what helped me. But moving on, guys, you know, this is not an episode of how to cure mental health. This is not an episode for the cureness or what works for me can work for you type episode. Not all sizes fit all, guys. Not all. But I do want to emphasize that if you are going through mental health issues, through depression, because of deportation, I highly suggest you seek professional help. Because it is real. I want to tell you guys that has been bothering me for quite some time. And today to you it may be one story, but to many of us it's the reality that we live every single day. You know, there's this one family that used to be together, you know, and unfortunately because they were deported, the husband was not able to see their children. Unfortunately, you know, many of us get deported and then we don't get to see our families until who knows when. You know, some of our other families are also undocumented, so, you know, we won't be able to see them, you know. Thanks to technology nowadays, we'll be able to FaceTime them, you know, talk to them on the phone. But it's not the same, you know what I mean? It's not the same, you know. We have people here that have been deported for years and have not seen their mother or their significant other in the States because that other person is also good, also undocumented, and they cannot make it to Mexico because once they make it to Mexico, they can't go back. You know what I mean? And half their life is out there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you may say, well, come back to Mexico and be with your loved ones. I mean, it's easier to say, but at the end of the day, your life is out there. You know what I mean? Their life is already there. You know, their source of income, their way of life is over there. When you come to Mexico, it's not the same neighborhood. It's not the same white picket painted fence with a nice green lawn. You know what I mean? It's not the same. You know, a lot of people a lot of people like to say, well, you know, just go back to Mexico and you know you can make a really good living. You know, which you could. It's good. Yeah, you can. Absolutely, no doubt about it. But what it comes down to it is that you have to, you know, establish yourself first. You have to build your foundation first because you're coming in here blindly, and not only blindly, but you come with yourself. You know what I mean? You come by yourself with nothing. You know what I mean? So that takes a mental health on you, a mental toll into you. You know what I mean? Because then you start hearing all this, man. It's like, what did I do to get myself in this situation? You know, you start thinking all type of thoughts like, what should I could have done better? Man, I could just run and get to that fence. I could just hop the border. You know what I mean? Start thinking different things. You know what I mean? Your thoughts take the best out of you. You know what I mean? So, you know, like a lot of us guys that we go through this deportation seriously, you know, and, you know, lucky for us that, you know, we speak English and we can actually, you know, go and relate to other people that have been deported and they can, you know, help one of another, help each other, one another, you know, and, you know, help each other out, you know. Um, but yeah, guys, that's one of the big bangs that, you know, comes with deportation. You know, there's fathers out there that have not seen their kids for years, not even a single phone call, because they have not seen their kids since they were deported. You know, that is a reality. How many of you guys know the fact that deportation does in fact separate families and it breaks families, and sometimes those families cannot get reunited? You know what I mean? So, you know, and I keep you guys on my prayers. Also have, you know, their families have been broken apart because of deportation, and you guys have not been able to see each other, reconcile, or be a family again. You know, my prayers go out to you. You know what I mean? If there's one person if there's somebody that can reunite families, that's through prayer and that's through Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, guys, there's a lot of us out here that have been separated from our families and we have not been able to see our own kids. You know what I mean? Yet alone communicate with them to see if they're okay, to see if they're hungry, if they're sick, if they're thinking about them, that they need something. You know what I mean? You know, it's kind of like raising someone from prison. You know what I mean? You, even if you do get to talk to them, even if, you know, you're still not there for them. You know what I mean? And that's the sad reality. You know what I mean? That you gotta love them through the phone. You know what I mean? Or through memories. You know, and like I was saying, guys, you know, deportation alone. A lot of people bash us being deported, saying, "Hey, well, you should have done that. Then you would have been in that predicament." You know, it's not. You know, it's not like that. It's not like we were out there running a mug and committing all types of crimes, and boom, I got busted. No, it's not like that. A lot of us are law-abiding citizens, clean whistle, like role model citizens, getting deported just because, unfortunately, you know, we're undocumented, you know, and that's the sad reality. And people say, well, just get your documents, it's easy. Nah, it's not. It's not that easy. Trust me. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, to be honest with you. But like I said, guys, deportation is heavy. Deportation goes deep. You know what I mean? There's more to that. And this is why I like to encourage everybody, not just those who've been deported, You know what I mean? But anybody and everybody who's anybody that's breathing right now, that there is life after deportation. You know what I mean? There is a lot of stuff that you can do after being deported. And like I said, if you have, if you're going through mental problems right now because of deportation, because it has separated for your families, your loved ones, that is real. That is a real issue. You know what I mean? And I encourage you to seek professional help, whether it be through like counseling, group counseling, talking to a pastor at church, getting plugged in through like a church group, you know what I mean? Or even talking about it to a friend. Just let it out. You know what I mean? Take that first step. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we all need a little help. We all need a little help. And it ain't shameful to ask for help. You know what I mean? Now, it is shameful not to ask for help. Now, guys, I don't want to bore you guys no more. But at the end of the day, guys, this is real stuff that we like to talk about this podcast. Because there is life after deportation, guys. So I hope you guys like this episode. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe to this channel. Again, guys, can I emphasize that you guys were helping me, help the channel grow, help the community grow, and just share the message, guys, that there is life after deportation. So without further ado, guys, I'll talk to you guys in the next episode, and I hope to see every single one of you guys in the next episode, all right? So let's go. God bless. If you'd like more information on how to contribute or would like to share your deportation story, please reach out via email to deportedintj@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and to our other platforms like YouTube so we can continue encouraging that there is life after deportation. Oh, in Jesus' name, let's go.